right, a very good morning to you. It's good to see you right here on Your World, 10 minutes past the hour, but we apologize for starting late. But here we are. The show must go on. It is Friday, and as you all know, every Friday, it's all about entertainment, or maybe we'll be cooking, or we'll be dancing, or we'll be enjoying the music. We'll be doing all that, but that is coming up after the first 30 minutes or 40 minutes of the show. We want to start with serious matters that, involves each and every single person of us, but mostly the youth, okay, that we need to know about. And it's all about KIPPRA and what they are doing to shape pathways to future jobs and unlocking opportunities for the young people. A very important conversation that we need to have. I would want to say every single day, because again, we are a youthful nation. We are a youthful population, and even across the African region, we are a youthful population. But then again, cases of unemployment is on the rise. So we're trying to understand what exactly is KIPPRA doing to help unlock these opportunities for the young people. So you want to stick around for the first 30 minutes of the show to understand that and much more. And my guest today is Dr. Eldah Onsomu, who's the Acting Executive Director and Board Secretary from KIPPRA. And just in case you're asking, Sister Kwani, KIPPRA, what is it all about? Well, like I said, you want to stick around until the end of the show to understand all that and much more. So, Dr. Eldah, so good to see you and good to have you this morning. How are you doing on a Friday?
Thank you. Doing quite fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
Karibu start off to the show. So there's an ongoing conference that started on 21st. And goes all the way to 25th of May. We'll talk about it in a second, but really, can we understand KIPPRA, Kenya Institute of Public Policy Research and Analysis? What is it all about?
The Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis is a state corporation under the State Department for Economic Planning, the National Treasury, and Economic Planning. Okay. This is an organization that supports the government in public policy making processes through evidence-based research and capacity building. We have a common mandate to shape the future of the country through public policy research and analysis. And this we have over the years accomplished through evidence generation and also through partnerships and engagements. And that's why this week we've had the regional conference, which is tackling one of the key major issues in the sustainable development of our great country, Kenya.
Okay. And when you talk about public policy research, right, and the process that goes behind it, just take us through a little bit to understand what exactly does that process look like? Because I know a lot of people, we included, we always say, as a country, we have some of the best policies, but then again, when it comes to the implementation is where sometimes we have a challenge. But really, when it comes to public policy, what does that process look like? By the time we have a policy document that says, this and this and this is what is important, this is where we need to go, and all those things, what is that process and what does it look like?
A public policy making process is a process that is very inclusive.
Okay.
It starts with identifying a policy issue. Once the issue has been identified, then one goes deeper to get the evidence. Okay. And this evidence can be either in the form of information, in form of data, or in form of the practices that have been ongoing. In this process, as an institute, we engage with various stakeholders, both at the national and the sub-national levels, and also the experts in the respective sectors. These experts are able to give their opinion and also their input in the issue that is under discussion. After that, then, the institute is able to support the various sectors of the economy, whereby this relevant issue is under discussion. We support that through giving evidence, through writing the policies, whereby a policy is a direction on where we need to go and how to reach there and how that should be implemented. The policy direction also goes further to identify the timelines and also the responsibility holders. This then enables that policy to be implemented and also to have impacts.
Very interesting. So then how does the public fit into this? Because I'm pretty sure you do this. There's a lot of conversations around, public participation, but then again, sometimes people don't show up because they don't know that, their role in terms of being part of, say, policy making and policy development. So where does the public fit in the process?
The public fits in various stages.
Okay.
The first stage is when we identify the policy issue. And this identification of the policy issue is what is affecting the public.
Okay.
And after that, we have forums where we discuss the policy issues.
Right.
And when that discussion is going on, the public comes in. And we target the public in that specific issue.
Right.
We could engage them in workshops, in seminars, and also in forums like conferences.
Okay.
Right along, the public is also involved in the validation of that evidence that is informing the policy, because the policy has to also go through public participation.
I see. All right. So when you talk about conferences, okay, and like we said, KIPPRA has a conference that is ongoing. So the 8th annual regional conference that is ongoing. So tell us a little bit about that conference, because it has a very youth-centered and youth forward theme. So yeah, tell us a little bit about this conference and what is it that we need to know about it.
This week, the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis has hosted the conference on shaping the pathways to the future jobs,
okay,
with the aim of unlocking opportunities for the youth in the country.
All right.
In this conference, our aim is to give a platform to various stakeholders to discuss and forge the way forward in terms of how to unlock the opportunities for job creation and connecting opportunities to the youth of various characteristics.
All right.
This conference has focused on various areas. The first area is on human capital development. The conference has also looked at the areas of industrialization and trade, areas of digital transformation and infrastructure, gender equity and inclusion, areas of SMEs, and how the youth can fit into the emerging sectors like the digital economy, which is quite important. This conference has also given an opportunity to discuss the role of data in evidence generation for job creation. Through this conference, various stakeholders have been able to bring out the pertinent issues that we have to take up as a nation to forge the way for job creation, and also looking forward in the futuristic nature of the dynamic labor market that is changing each and every day. And hence, we have to improve on how we develop our skills so that they are able to fit into the labor market.
Okay, let's stick with that for a second. So young people, most of the time, there's a lot of conversations surrounding young people. We need to create jobs. We need to create opportunities. We need. There's a lot of we need to, going around, and not just here in the country, but across the continent and even across the world. But then again, so there's the need aspect, but there's also what the young people need to thrive in these opportunities that either are presented or should be created for them. So where does the space of these young people in, say, public participation, what we talked about, policy research, where exactly do they fit, so that even when we talk about opportunities that will benefit them, at least they have a say in whatever policy is being implemented for them?
The youth fit in various areas.
Okay.
First of all, in the shaping of the policies that influence the job creation.
Okay.
This conference has been quite innovative and catalytic in the sense that it has given a lot of information on what the youth are doing. The youth in Kenya are doing great things. They are working on various innovations. Some are major entrepreneurs, employers, and they are mentors. They have created companies. They are also training other young people. They are even linking with learning institutions to make sure that even as one concludes their schooling, they are able to understand what is happening in the labor market. That said, yes, there are areas that we have to strengthen so that we exploit this potential that is among the youth.
Okay.
As you might be aware, our country has over 75% of the population which is aged less than 35 years.
Yes.
So these are the young people who are very critical, and they fit in this space quite well, because then they call for areas of support, particularly in skills development, in education, in health, in nutrition, in training, and supporting them to transition to the labor market.
I see that.
Yes.
And even as we talk about transitioning to the labor market, there's a lot of conversation surrounding AI and how AI is coming to take up those jobs, and a lot of young people are like, okay, so now what's going to happen to us in the next 10 or 15 years? So I want to imagine, even as yes, we embrace technology and we have no choice but to adapt to how technology is influencing the labor market. From where you sit, how can the young people be prepared for this, so that come 5-10 years we still don't have conversations around unemployment or lack of opportunities for the young people? How do we prepare them for this labor market currently?
That is quite important. The technologies and also the digital space is quite dynamic. Right now we are talking of artificial intelligence. We are now talking of artificial intelligence divide. We have moved from digital divide, which then means as a country, we need to prepare our youth and our children right from a very early age in terms of the digital skills, which touches on our curricula in learning institutions, right from preschool to primary to secondary to university and TVET institutions. There are two ways that can be done. First is to target those who are already in the learning institutions to make sure that they access this quality education input so that they are prepared for the labor market. Second is to now design interventions for those who are not in school, not in education, not in training, and not in employment, so that they are prepared to fit into the labor market efficiently. This requires investments both in human capital and also in resources which are financial in nature, because then you also have to invest in infrastructure. There are areas that have low levels of access, and hence that has to be tackled.
I see. So this is not the first conference that KIPPRA is holding. This is the 8th annual conference. So that means there have been, 7 conferences before this? So what is the significance of particularly this year's conference from where you sit, and how does it differ from the previous conferences?
Yes, KIPPRA has held various conferences since 2018. We've tackled various issues, including drought and floods, gender development. We've tackled industrialization. We've tackled science, technology, and innovation. We have looked at the areas of values, and these conferences have also helped us look at areas like unlocking potential in arid and semi-arid lands.
Interesting,
This year's conference, which is looking at shaping the pathways to future jobs for the youth, is quite different in various ways. First, it is a conference that has majority of the participants being the youth. And these youth are drawn from various sectors of the country and also various areas. The conference is quite unique because it has been able to tackle critical issues related to human capital development. It has been able to tackle issues of how we look at generating jobs through trade and empowerment, micro and small enterprises and their role, and hence, going forward, looking at areas of how to use data to create jobs and to inform job creation, because that is very important for decision making and also for evidence generation. The conference is also quite different because it has brought together various stakeholders who are from the public sector, private sector, NGOs, the job creators, innovators, youth empowerment organizations, and they have been able to discuss in detail on how to categorize this connection between these institutions which are in the job creation space to the needs of the youth.
All right. And talking about how research is important, and you also mentioned data, which again, some people would say, yeah, data when it comes to Kenya, there's a little bit of a gap there when it comes to data and understanding how data is important. Now, how then would you say the youth will benefit, from, yes, a practical policy, development or formation agenda, but at the same time, just understanding their position and how they're going to benefit from, say, the conference and even the other conferences that have been held before? How are the young people going to benefit from this?
The young people will benefit in various ways.
All right.
First is by now giving deeper evidence on the state of the youth and where we are as a country. The young people also have been able to make connections and link with various actors in the space of evidence generation, which includes information and data. They will also benefit through seeing opportunities that are there in critical sectors like creative economy, areas of sports, areas of digital space, agribusiness, among others.
Right.
This then means the youth needs to work and also look at these opportunities, exploit them, and look for ways at which they can connect to these areas and these actors who are creating the jobs. Further, the youth will benefit because they are the ones also who are going to support the country to create the jobs. As I indicated earlier on, the youth are doing great. They are those who have been mentored and mentoring others. There are those who are working, and there are also those who are creating the opportunities in monitoring, evaluation, in data, and hence that is how the youth will benefit.
Fantastic. Now, so this is just out of curiosity, because again, like you said, 75% or over 75% of our population here in the country are young people. Have they been involved in the organizing of the conference and being part of the conference, and how is it working with them to address issues that are affecting them? Because they know where the shoes pinch, right?
Yes, the youth were involved in various areas.
Okay.
KIPPRA has a major program on young professionals.
Okay.
And this program, we engage youth who are less than 35 years
of age.
Old.
Okay.
Every year we have around 30 of them in-house. We have interns who have been seconded to the institution through the public service.
Right.
And these are the youth whom we have involved fully in the organization of this conference. We also worked with various youth organizations because we have a partnership department where we are implementing various programs like the Youth in Climate Action. These youth are prepared right from like the conference we have held up to when they go to the COP conferences. These youth also help us to connect to the other youth in various counties. As an institute, we have a network framework where these youth fit, and hence they will continue to be involved even in the implementation of the programs that we are coming up with. The youth were also involved through the parent ministry, who is in charge of youth in the country.
Right.
And the various ministry officials, starting with the cabinet secretary, were present, and hence the ministry in charge of youth was fully supporting the conference. Also was the Department for Economic Planning, as well as the principal secretaries in both the State Department for Economic Planning and also the ministry in charge of youth, creative economy, and sports. Okay. That then means going forward, these recommendations we are making, they are going direct to the implementers and also direct to the policy-making processes. And as an institution, we have that responsibility to make sure that these recommendations that are coming out of this conference will influence the youth policies now and going forward.
In the future. I like that they are involved. So what is it that they are saying that they need? Because majority of the times we had them say, yeah, I mean, we have these conferences and they talk about issues that affect us without involving us, and then they come up with these policies that we're not even part of. But I'm happy to hear that you're saying, listen, the young people need to be involved and have been involved in these conferences. What is that one, or maybe two things that, you know, is very key for them, that even as we come and say formulate, you know, these policies, they should be included so that they feel, you know what, our voices have been heard? Is there anything that maybe has come up so far from the young people in terms of what they need?
A number of things have come out. First is inclusion. The youth are quite diverse. They are not homogeneous. Yeah. We have youth with needs, and this is the category under the persons with disabilities. Yeah. These have space in this area of job creation because that's where we can have the youth involved in coming up with apps which can improve on the capabilities of the youth with disabilities. Okay. Another area where evidence also has shown is very critical is issues of gender. And also areas of improving on skills delivery, skills development, investing more in nutrition and health, helping the youth to come out of negative practices such as drug use and substance abuse. Because in this conference, we look at the youth in all dimensions, because if these aspects then are not addressed, then we are losing the investments that we have made to the youth. Okay. So in those areas, we are optimistic that all the youth will benefit, both at the national level and across the counties.
I see that. So we've talked about the previous conferences and the different areas that you know, the various conferences touched on. So what is the impact that you would say from the previous conferences, and what is it that you hope to achieve from this year's conference? Because the themes have been different over time, right?
Various areas where we have benefited a lot from the various conferences relate to informing the policies, particularly in unlocking the potential in arid and semi-arid areas. Yeah. Also in science, technology, and innovation, coming up with policies that tackle awareness and also early warning systems, particularly in the areas of droughts and floods, and bringing into the fore the link between spatial planning and economic planning, because all these things are happening in a space and they are influenced by natural activities, which then means from the various conferences that we have held, we've had direct implication on shaping the various policies and also programs that are being implemented in the various areas. For the current one, which is focusing on shaping pathways to future jobs and also unlocking the potential among the youth and opportunities for the youth, we hope to attain various deliverables. First, we'll be coming up with a communique. This is where we'll put together all the resolutions from the conference, and these resolutions will have to be actionable, which then we are going to share with the various actors at the various levels so that we are able to monitor the implementation and ensure that they have impact. Another expectation is the enhanced collaborations between the youth, the government, the private sector, the non-state actors, the individuals, and the futuristic nature of the labor market. This then means that as we look forward to the next steps after this conference, we shall continue to work closely with all the partners that we have engaged with, right from the planning of this conference up to its conclusion and thereafter, so that we are able to have impactful effects from the recommendations that are coming out of this conference.
All right. Okay. And then, moving forward, so after this conference, what are the next steps, as far as KIPPRA is concerned and the target, let's say target audience for the conferences? What next?
After this conference, as an institute, we'll reflect on the various recommendations, we'll synthesize them, and we shall be able to share them with the various actors that will be identified in the various action areas.
Right.
We have also developed a network of all these partners who are involved in job creation for the youth. Going forward, we are going to have frequent engagements where we shall be linking to see how to monitor and also make sure that the recommendations that have come out are implemented. Okay. Further, with these collaborations, we'll be able to look at the levels and areas and sectors for job creation so that we are able to inform policy accordingly and also design of programs and projects and monitoring their impact and ensuring that everything is data-backed so that the evidence is firm, strong, impactful, and can be monitored.
I'm really happy that you're talking about evidence-based policies. Okay, so then what should people then expect from? So we've talked about what's, what is next for KIPPRA, but what is it that Kenyans, should expect from this conference?
One, from the discussions we've had, and given that job creation is one of the priority areas of government, whereby the country is targeting to create around 1.2 million jobs annually. From the conference, it is clear that there are now sectors where we can unlock to make sure that all these jobs are created. We also expect as an institute that we will continue to support the government in public policy-making processes that are informed by the evidence that we have come up with from the conference and other work that has been done in this area, because this year the institute was focusing on work and also job creation, the areas that we have to tackle, which relate to institutional frameworks, policies, and also the sectors that have the greatest potential in job creation. So the way forward after the conference is quite heavy, and it is going to be quite engaging to the institute and also to the various stakeholders who have worked with us throughout the conference.
Okay. All right. So then there's more work, that needs to be done. I mean, what you're saying is the conversations do not just end at the conference and then that's it. There's more work to be done even afterwards, because again, there's so much that needs to be implemented to ensure that the people are, the Kenyans, benefit from the same, and not just the young people. And once again, like we said, this is not the first conference that has been held by KIPPRA. There have been multiple conferences that have happened, before. This is the 8th annual, conference from the Kenya Institute for Public Policy Research and Analysis, that is a KIPPRA, with a very, very special theme that is centered towards the young people. And the theme is, on job creation, that is shaping pathways to future jobs, unlocking opportunities for the youth, okay? So again, and we've talked about what it means, and especially in practical policy terms, and how the young people, seek to benefit from the same. So if you are a young person watching us this morning and you're thinking, okay, how am I going to benefit? Well, there's several ways, okay, that you're going to benefit from, this conference, and even from these policies, because most of the time we usually talk about policies and how they're important, but what we need to do to ensure that we implement some of these policies, okay? All right, so then talked about the young people, talked about how important this is for not just KIPPRA, but, the young people in general. So then who gets to attend to this conference? Is it open to the general public? Can anybody just walk into the conference? Who gets to join?
Yes, the conference is open to everybody. Okay. We advertise and share information, and also we make call for papers. And this process started in December last year.
Oh, wow.
That's when we made call for papers.
All right.
And all those who responded were able to have their papers go through peer review, and the ones which were advanced were presented during the conference.
Okay.
And also the conference was open for registration. All the public was allowed to register and attend, and it was also available both physically and also virtually, and that's why through the KIPPRA YouTube you can be able to access and view all the proceedings. So everybody is welcome and was welcomed to attend.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so it goes from 21st all the way to 25th of May, right here in Nairobi. So what are some of the, several topics? I know we mentioned this when we started the show, but just as we bring this to a close, so some of the different, because I want to believe there are even other meetings that will be going on, in the conference. What are some of these other activities that will be happening in the conference, aside from the conference in itself?
So the conference, ideally we started with a pre-conference activity on 20th of May at the Y Technology Academy. This is where we had that 5 youth taken through public policy making process. And in this training, the youth were exposed to the digital space, to the technologies, to the issues of artificial intelligence, to public policy making processes, and also to looking at the areas of national values. After that first activity, the conference then started in earnest on 21st, and it has gone all the way up to today, 23rd, May 2025. The other areas that we are focused on relate to the role of investing in the early years of life in terms of nutrition, so that you are able to develop human capital fully, right from the conception level all the way up to before they enter into the labor market.
All right.
The conference then further also looked at the areas of skills development. What are the gaps? Where do we invest more in education, in training, and also in transitioning to the labor market? Other areas related to investing in micro and small enterprises to improve their productivity, because this is where we are having major jobs also being created, and areas of digital space and infrastructure. Other area of emphasis was in trade and linkages and logistics, because then you have to have markets even for products. We had good focus on creative economy. A lot of our youth are in creative economy, and hence areas of support in policy, institutions, in evidence generation, so that we are able to support this critical sector of creative economy. Another area that was quite important and also discussed on during the conference relates to gender equity and inclusion. During the conference, we were also able to launch a book on gender development and other publications that KIPPRA has worked on, which relate to job jobs and also socioeconomic development in other sectors of the economy.
All right, so today's the last day, or we have 2 more days for the conference?
Today's the last day.
Today's the last day. Oh, yes. Okay, all right. So we look forward to hear what, that the deliberations will come from the conference and the communique that you talked about that will be, given at the end of the day today from the conference as well. But thank you so much for coming by today and just helping us understand what role KIPPRA is playing as far as shaping pathways to future jobs. And this is as far as the young people are concerned. And we have been speaking to Dr. Eldah Onsomu, who is the Acting Executive Director and Board Secretary from KIPPRA. Thank you so much for your time today and all the very best in the last day of the conference. Well, we need to say goodbye right here on this first part of the discussion, but do not go too far because we have another hour and it's all about Entertainment Friday. What do we have in store for you? Well, you need to stick around and find out. See you after the break.